What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So, one of my favorite comedians who is on the rise right now, he's on tour. He just did the White House Correspondents' Dinner earlier this year. Roy Wood Jr. He says that he is no longer going to work at The Daily Show on Comedy Central. So, he gave an interview with NPR. But before I get into that, if you if he comes to your city, please support him. Go to his Twitter, go to his Instagram, roywoodjr.com. He's done a lot of stand-ups. But I just want to say that if you guys remember, they were interviewing co-hosts. They were going through all these different auditions. If you remember, like Leslie Jones, Marlon Wayans, Hassan Minaj, like all these different people, Sarah Silverman, and then they went to the correspondence. And right before Dulce Sloan finished her week, boom, the writer's strike hit. This was 5 months ago, okay? And she didn't even get to finish her week. Dang, I love her too. She's a great comedian as well. But Trevor, the only person that he, endorsed or, sent out any kind of response was Roy. Like him and Roy, were really close on the show. But again, he backed him because he thought that that would be the perfect person to, replace him. So what ended up happening was the executives, they were going to go with Hassan Minaj, but Hassan has quote unquote, embellished or exaggerated his stories growing up as a little brown boy in California, his run-ins with the police, et cetera, et cetera. So he just basically lied and took himself out of the running. Okay, so Roy, he gave an interview with NPR, and he says this quote, "I can't come up with Plan B while still working with Plan A." He says that he does not want to continue as one of the show's correspondents while someone else, is being considered for the top role. He says, quote, "The job of correspondent, it's not really one where you can juggle multiple things, and I think 8 years is a good run." You know what? I think so too, because they had the opportunity to put him in that top role, and he's put in his time. 8 years? I mean, if you're not promoted after 8 years, then yeah, I think it's best to take your talents elsewhere. His exit spotlights complications at the program at Comedy Central as it broadens its search for a new lead figure. So Trevor Noah abruptly announced his exit in the late 2022 in front of a live audience. Why does it feel like it was so much longer? Wow. He was great on this show. Trevor is one of my favorite comedians as well. I love the way his mind works. So Comedy Central has relied on guest hosts ever since. Yep, until the show had to go dark due to the writer's strike. The Paramount Global Network had settled on Hassan Minaj, but appears to have reversed its decision after the comic, who guest hosted alongside of Chelsea. I forgot about Chelsea Handler, Marlon Wayans, yep, Cal Penn, and Sarah Silverman, after a New York reporter described the ways in which Minaj had embellished some of his comedy routines. I mean, okay. Um, yeah. The Daily Show has been through similar issues in the past. When Jon Stewart neared the end of his tenure, several correspondents began to be considered. John Oliver, who had filled in for Stewart last week tonight, and then Samantha Bee. All the people who were testing for Jon Stewart ended up getting their own show. So I hope that, Roy, he like starts his own YouTube channel. I mean, I know he has a comedy tour, but I hope he gets his own show as well. That would be dope. The Daily Show is expected to return to original production on October 16th, with guest hosts slated to lead the series for the rest of the year. Wow, so they still haven't decided. That's okay. Executives expect to have identified a new host and have that person in place by 2024. It says Roy Wood Jr. is a comedic genius and a beloved teammate. His insights and hilarity helped us make sense of the 2016 election, the pandemic, and countless hours of Fox News Comedy Central said in a statement. We thank him for his time with us and can't wait to see what he does next. Man, you know what? I'm so glad that he realized his worth and decided to leave because again, if you're putting in time and effort, especially if it's over, 5 years, he's been there for 8, right? And again, like I said, that was the only comedian or the guest host that Trevor endorsed. And so for them not to consider him, it was insulting. And I'm really glad that he has, decided to leave. He has way too much integrity. He's way too talented. You would think that after hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner, especially, right, that's a huge honor. He was getting recognized from, you know, radio shows and just all over. I remember that was a huge thing for him. I thought that they were going to promote him back then. And I think that was before the writer's strike began. So that would have been the perfect opportunity for them to, nominate him. I can't wait to see who Comedy Central thinks is a better fit for, for the top role because they already gave Jordan Klepper his own show and it ended up getting canceled. I think the same with Samantha Bee, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, but again, I'm really glad that, Roy is taking his talents elsewhere. And this was what he said that, there he is with Trevor. And again, like I said, both of them were tight, but they both valued their selves, their talent more than just staying in a corporation and a network that didn't value them. So this is what Roy he wrote on a notes app when he put it on Twitter. He says, after 8 amazing years on The Daily Show, where I've been able to pursue my comedic and political curiosities. Sorry, y'all, it's late, I'm sleepy. With some of the best writers, producers, crew, and correspondents anyone could hope for, I've made the decision to move on. I'm grateful to Trevor Noah, Paramount, and especially Comedy Central for giving me the runway to also produce 3 1-hour stand up specials, for letting me host 2 award winning podcasts, letting me write and shoot my own comedy pilot, write a film, and much, much more. I look forward to finding other ways to collaborate with them down the road. Until then, I am excited to nurture new ideas and see what the future holds for me in the shifting sands of late night television, scripted comedy, and whatever else the comedy gods may have in store for me in 2024 and beyond. And the great thing about YouTube, well, the internet period, right, is that it shatters the gatekeepers. Like you can go directly to the marketplace, whether it's with YouTube, Amazon Prime, you can, publish, you can create your own courses, whatever it is, Twitter, Instagram, like those TikTok, those platforms are so powerful and you can interconnect with people on a global scale. Like you don't have to go through network television in order to reach a huge audience. And Trevor realized that himself, right? Like he said, like I can promote my own tour from my Instagram, from my phone. I'm glad that Roy is going to follow in that, in those footsteps. Again, if he comes to your city, and you have the time, go support him. You can get tickets. I know he's not paying me to, promote him, but he is one of my favorite comedians. So go on his Twitter. You guys can read his note. I think it's roywoodjr.com. Go support your boy. And while you're feeling, supportive, support me too. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you have not done so already. But yeah, I think that it's amazing when you can see people realize their value and they work for themselves and they leave a company or a relationship or anything in their life that's no longer serving you. That's a word. I forget what author it was. I want to say maybe Bell Hooks, who says, or I don't remember, but one of my favorite authors, I can't recall the name right now, um, said, "Get up from the table when love is no longer being served." I think it was Nina Simone. Y'all, it's past midnight and I need to go to bed, but I love you guys. And yes, whoever said it was very wise. I think it was Nina. I think it was Nina Simone. Get up from the table when love is no longer being served. Yes, I had to look it up just real quick. It was from her song, You Gotta Learn, but she says, get up from the table when love is no longer being served. And I'm so glad that both Trevor and Roy left the table that was no longer serving them. So that's the word for this evening. Y'all be sure to like the video, subscribe if you have not done so already, and I will talk with you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.